Hey everyone, it's Brennan with BC Labs, and today we're going to be testing the Lenovo Legion Go a bit more, but this time with VR. So you can already see my Quest 3 is already set up on my head, doing some basic room building, and we got the Legion Go sitting on this table. Let's get started. So I'm going to be using Virtual Desktop to stream from the Legion Go. We are going to be playing, I believe it's called Espire or Espire. It's just a game that I already have in my Steam library that's not too intensive and it doesn't take up too much space. This is a borrowed device, so I was trying to get as much use out of it as possible without putting a bunch of junk on it. So anyway, you can see I don't have my eGPU connected. I wanted to do a test without the eGPU first. So anyway, here we go. We're in. You can already kind of see the latency is like 250, 260, only about 30 FPS tops. And that's not playable. However, let's dive into the settings and see what we can do. So I go to display settings, kind of play around. What else? We gotta go. So we're gonna set everything to low, turn off everything extra, get the pixel density down. Yeah, anti-aliasing off. That's gonna be a little less pretty, but oh well. And so you can already tell we're already back up to 70 frames. Now this is Space Warp is active. So it is really 35 frames, but still. So you see the latency. You can see the latency is about 50 or so, 50 to 60 for the game and the network and the encoding. For some reason, the decoding is really high right now. It's about 40. But even with the frame rate being 74, which is okay, the latency being about 120 is kind of high. I am able to play it. I have my VR legs, but I can tell it's laggy. It's not the best experience, but it's surprisingly tolerable. Now, with that said, though, I'm not a conspiracy junkie in terms of tech, but this really does give me hope that the Deckard conspiracies around Valve are true. Because you have a all-in-one APU that's already having a fight with the encoding and going over the network, as well as is not directly rendering. I mean, there's a lot of things that are going against it, and you're getting serviceable performance. I think Valve might be able to make it happen. So, I'm really hopeful that that is a possibility in the future. And anyway, so yeah, that's my little take on it. Is I think that this is a great demo to show off that an APU could, under certain circumstances, run PCVR games, especially if they were directly rendering the display versus over a network. So anyway, I'm going to kick over. We're going to run this on the eGPU now. I already showed the setup, so I'm not going to bother to show that. But anyway, so we're back in Espire. I just wanted a direct comparison. You can already tell that the frame rate's a little bit better. The latency is drastically lower. See, the decoding dropped by like 30 ms, and I don't really know what happened there. Because that should be all on the Quest side. But my Quest wasn't overheating or anything like that, so I'm wondering if maybe that has something to do with the Space Warp. Because you can see the Space Warp when it's cutting off the screen here. Space Warp is set to automatic. It's not active right now, so it chooses when to kick in. It's not necessary. So anyway, I wonder if maybe due to Space Warp it was going through a lot of extra work. I'm not really sure. But anyway, so we're going to go ahead and get in here and see how it performs in-game. So, whoa, okay. So 80 FPS, I think I actually have it capped in Virtual Desktop at 80 FPS, so I wouldn't hold it against it. It should be able to handle higher. This is a 1080 being paired with, I believe it's the Z1 in a Legion Go, so it's doing pretty well actually. And this is actually with default settings. I didn't show it in the settings menu, but I put it back to default. So I think it was normal or medium, and performance is pretty good. I will say the latency, 50 milliseconds is higher than I'd like it to be, but I've been still tuning with my router, so I'll give it a pass on that. But in general, the game feels very responsive. The frame rate, I don't really see those dips. I am showing it a few dips on here on the frame rate counter, and that could be as much as because of me moving around. I'm not sure. Playing it feels really smooth. I really think that this is a playable situation. I don't think it's the it's not a common use case. Most people aren't going to hook their Legion Go up to a virtual, or aren't going to hook up their Legion Go to a eGPU just to play VR. But it is a possibility, especially if the Legion Go is your only gaming device. You could spend a few $100s and get a eGPU case and get a reasonably priced GPU, and you could do that. I don't think the pricing of eGPUs currently makes that a reasonable option, but I wanted to test this scenario anyway. But anyway, yeah, I know this isn't a particularly heavy game, but it's fairly nice looking, and I figured it's only 10 gig. It'd be an easy one to throw on here, especially when I was already filling up the hard drive with Red Dead and I think Doom Eternal. If you guys want to see any other titles ran on this or on my Steam Deck, I can try to get that going. So let me know. I hope this was helpful and gives a little bit more context on some of the advances that are in the Z1 processor. I'll catch you next time.